Hey guys, and welcome to episode number 4 of my Out of the Park Baseball 21 series with the DuPage Pistol Shrimp. It is Sunday, May 1st, and wouldn't you know it, it's looking like those OSA preseason predictions are not that far off. We currently sit 20-15 through the end of April, good for third place in the AL Central. Sorry, my phone just beeped, so I got to turn that down. All right, there we go. We sit 20-15 in third place in the AL Central. Really, we're doing it with pitching. Our offense has been pretty atrocious. Our pitching staff has been surprisingly effective. You can see offensively we rank near the bottom in pretty much everything except for home runs, which were middle of the pack. But pitching, at least our starter's ERA is number 2 in the American League, and defensively we are third. So we're getting it done with starting pitching and defense, which is a little strange in this day and age, but I'll take it. So let's look at the offensive side of things. It's not good, as I mentioned. Gian Q, our big free agent acquisition, has put up a 1.1 WAR. I'm not entirely sure how he's put up a 1.1 WAR. He's got a 695 OPS and a 227 batting average. On-base percentage of 359. He's stolen 17 bases, and he's been really good at second base. So, excuse me, that's how he's been doing it. Has been through his base running and his defense. Khalil Lee is having a really nice season here for us. 289, 400, 470, 870 OPS. His BABIP, obviously, you can't sustain a 383 BABIP, so that will likely drop. Michael Gigliotti, he's the OPS is 713, but again, solid defensively. So, guys, hang on just a second. Sorry. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Where was I? Offense. Yeah. So it's been primarily defense and pitching that's gotten it done. We do have a couple of power bats. Michael Chavis, he's got 9 home runs and 20 RBIs. He's only hitting 210, but he's slugging almost 500. And then Lewin Diaz with 9 home runs leads the team with 23 RBIs, but he's only hitting a $188. And honestly, I would have expected a little higher average with his ratings where they are. So I'm hoping he will come along. Buster Posey is hitting a $189. Yeah, it's been really bad. Chris Taylor's hitting okay. He's putting up an 870 OPS in limited time. But that's about it, really. Tommy Pham's got 5 home runs, so it hasn't been great. But, we're winning. On the pitching side of things, Corbin Martin has been absolutely lights out in April. 5-0 with a 1.29 ERA. 3.01 FIP, so obviously he hasn't pitched this well, as evidenced by his 200 BABIP, but 0.86 whip, 0.6 home runs per 9, 9.4 Ks per 9. Even if he comes back to this number, he'll be a great pitcher for us. Clark Schmidt, our Rule 5 draftees, pitching pretty well, 2.82 ERA. Again, that FIP's a little bit high. Excuse me, Huskar and Yoa. His ERA and his FIP are pretty much in the same ballpark. All right, sorry guys, this video has been an absolute mess so far. So hope for better things going forward here. But yeah, you can see Clark Schmidt's done pretty well. Huskar and Yoa, his walk ratio is his walks are a little bit high. Brett Conine has come back and pitched pretty well in 4 starts. Andrew Heaney he's been okay. Actually, no, he hasn't. 5.54 ERA. And you can kind of see kind of everybody else is doing. So yeah, I mean, this 16-0 loss notwithstanding, we have played pretty well. Now, obviously, let's take a look. We made a deal last month as well. Let's take a look at that, shall we? This came out of nowhere. I'm shocked that this trade went through. So I was just offering up some of my veterans just to, kind of gauge early season interest. And one of the players that Tampa was offering me was Trevor Larnach. If you look at him, his numbers are really good. And I've talked in a few different episodes how I like this profile, the high gap power, high iron discipline. And he's 25 and he's in AAA. And I don't even remember who I was offering at that point, but I pulled that player out and I just left Larnach in the trade deal and said, what would it take to make this work? And all they wanted was a 32-year-old minor league second baseman, Greg Garcia, who they've got on their big league roster. So to me, that was a no-brainer. Pulled the trigger. Larnach is the number 59 prospect in baseball. Immediately becomes my best prospect. He can only play right field, but if I have to make him the DH to get some offense out there, I will do it. So take a look at the front office. We got a little bit of money to spend, not that we're looking to. Revenue is up. Salaries, we are at $80 million right now. Next year we drop to 67 because we have all these players coming off the books. Taylor Almora, Galvis, Lorenzen, and Hedges. Heaney, Posey, and Pham are all on team options. So I'm going to keep going, and if we stay in contention, then maybe we hold on to these players for a little bit longer. I would like to move Pham sooner rather than later so I can get Blade, who, to be fair, isn't hitting right now, so it's probably good that he's in AAA. Give him an opportunity to get some at-bats under his belt. But every one of these players could end up getting moved this year if the wheels kind of fall off. These two included Q and Osuna. So that's pretty much where we stand now. So what I'll probably do is let's sim ahead to the draft pool. Let's just take a look and see who we've got available in the draft. The name I'm looking for is Jack Leiter. He's the one that's the big name in this upcoming draft, I'm assuming. So let's take a look. Personal message. What is this? Yeah, I had already done a scouting report on him. And yeah, I mean, he's, the sky OSA likes him more than we do, but 4 good pitches, good stuff, decent movement, decent control. He will be probably the top pick in the draft. If we look at draft pool, there are a couple of relief pitchers. Actually, we're showing. This is what I wanted to show all players. So a couple good relief pitchers. There are a couple of good starters in there. Mike Logan actually might be better. At least stat-wise, he looks better than Leiter. But yeah, I mean, there are, some decent pitchers in here. Offense was a little weaker, but there were still some decent players in here. And don't forget, we should have the 1st and the 5th pick in the draft. So there are some good names in here. So I'm gonna scouting. Let's look at scout. So I'm gonna mess around with some of these guys and see what kind of information I get. And when we come back, it'll be a very important first-year player draft, as we have some catching up to do from last year. So hang tight, and we'll be back in a minute. All right, guys, it is June 4th. It's draft time, and we're still hanging around. 36-30, 3.5 games out of first place. We have the second wild card spot. We're a game and a half up on Chicago and LA, 2 games up on Oakland, 2.5 on Minnesota. So I'm in a bit of an unusual situation in that I don't know what the hell to do. Um, I don't suspect that we're going to win it all. Um, I don't suspect we're going to be in it at the end. I mean, our offense is just so bad. But the pitching staff and the defense is really keeping it together. I mean, Corbin Martin's having just a great year for us. Really nice bounce back season after last year. 8-1. Andrew Heaney's doing okay. Clark Schmidt's doing all right. Um, I'm unsure of how I should go about proceeding offensively. Like I said, we're just really, really bad. If you just take a quick look, and again, I'm not going to go through all this because it's draft time, but Q has got a 2 WAR, and then we have 3 players who are one win players or over, and then everybody else is about half a WAR or less. I don't know. I mean, Chris Taylor's having a great season, but to me, he feels like trade bait just because of how good of a season he's having. A 909 OPS. I don't know. I'm gonna think about it. But for now, let's get to the draft. So we have the first pick and the 5th pick in the draft, and they think we should be taking third baseman Kevin Kimry, who's not bad. There was starting pitcher who was, I think it was this guy, Kevin Doyle, who was really good. But let's jump in and let's start digging here. Chris Ingram. This was the guy. I don't know why he's not showing up, but this, I think, is our number 1 pick. 3.5 star, good stuff, good movement, good control, 3 really good pitches. Went to Daytona State, 10-2. 162 strikeouts, 117 innings. He's really good. And then there are a plethora of 3-star and 2.5-star starting pitching. I'm not keen on. Man, my chair is squeaky. I got to do something about that. I'm not keen on drafting high school pitchers. As a Red Sox fan, the Trey Ball experience kind of burned me. But Sean Cervantes is another one I'm looking at. I'm thinking about doubling up on pitchers and going Ingram and Cervantes if they're both around. Jonathan Bryan is pretty good. He's got 4 really good pitches. I think Cervantes because, I mean, he's a ground ball pitcher, 95 to 97. Ground ball pitcher, that wasn't the one I was looking at. It was 94 to 96 neutral. I like the ground ball pitcher out of Cervantes. Ingram, ground ball pitcher, 98 to 100. So I'm thinking that's the way I'm going to go. Let's just take a look at the batters and make sure that there's nothing. The one hitter I was looking at was this guy, Bob Callen. Great power, good home run power, great gap power, good eye, good discipline. Played junior college last year at Mendocino in California. But nobody here that would be, I don't know. I mean, if, Sean Amber is this rather than this, maybe he's worth one of those 2 picks. But the bonus demand, him only $800,000, leads me to believe that he's closer to this. So I think that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go ahead, and our first pick is going to be Chris Ingram. And we will just draft player. Hopefully Cervantes is there on our next pick, and he is. So let's just go back and let's just double check this. I don't want to screw this up. So we've got Jonathan Bryan, 22-year-old, went to Louisville. Really, really good at Louisville. Has a little bit of offensive chops as well. Not that I need him for that, but 50, 51, 55. So, as a 22-year-old, those will probably develop a little bit. He's got 4 pretty good pitches, 94 to 96. He's neutral, really good stamina. Or Cervantes, a year younger, better movement, better stuff, 3 pitches that really are better than anything the other guy has. 95, yeah, I'm going with Cervantes. 95 to 97, ground ball pitcher. I think that's the way I got to go. So Sean Cervantes. So we are going to draft him as well. Let's go down to our next pick. All right. So now let's take a look at what we have available. Nobody with great contact, but that's just sort of the way things are these days. Josh Beckler. Who do they think I should take? Alex Mooney. Shortstop who can't hit. Okay. Walt Hart to Florida. 18 home runs last year. 64 OPS. Or do we go back here? And do we just continue to load up on pitching? Phil Owens is not bad. Or competition. But, I mean, obviously, if he's closer to this than he is this, then in round 2 he's a steal. But decent stamina, 3 decent pitches. Or do we go bullpen? Baseball rat. I mean, we could use an elite reliever. 99 to 101. Oof. Steve Michaud. No. So I think it's Phil Owens. Mike Silva. He's too smart for his own good. Okay, so I don't like him. Ian Worrell. It's a lot of money. Or do we go with someone like Beckler, who can already play all 3 outfield positions? Very good defense. Good speed. I don't think. I think I gotta triple up on pitchers here. I think I'm going to go with who was it? Was it Phil Owens? Yeah. Introverted. That's fine. I'm going to go with Phil Owens. We've got the money to spend, so we will do that. Go to our next pick. Both of the relievers are gone. I was hoping one of them would be there for me. Okay, that's fine. Let's go back. Hitters. And we are down to garbage. That didn't take long. Bob Ray. That's not bad. He's not a very good defensive outfielder, or he doesn't have a lot of experience, I should say. Out of high school, decent contact, decent gap power. He's going to swing at everything, and he's good handling the bat. That might be the pick. Danny Hurt. It's a borderline starter if that pitch develops. He's got some. I mean, we could make him a batter as well, or hitter as well. I think we're gonna go Bob Ray. All right. Now, do we? I think we take a shot here. He's a JUCO sophomore. 2 pitches, so he's definitely a reliever. Again, decent hitting chops. We're going to go Danny Swigard. Because those are all pretty good numbers. I mean, he could be a pretty good, especially if he develops like this. He could be a pretty good reliever. So, Danny Swigard. Joe McMahon. He's a senior, high school senior. Out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. Needs some work defensively, pretty good speed. Again, good contact, good gap power. That discipline develops a little bit. If that develops to a 45 or 50, he could be a pretty good middle infield bat. Kevin Reaney to Florida. No power to speak of, but he's a good defensive. Yeah, I like that. He's a good defensive catcher. Don't need a lot of power out of your catcher spot, but if you can hit for some decent contact, decent gap power. Kevin Reaney. Next pick. All right. Bill Montalvo. He's not bad across the board. I mean, 43 to 57 for all of his categories. Where did he play last year? Florence Darlington Tech. As a freshman, 57 RBIs in 60 games, stole 34 bases. Sure. Il Montalvo. Anybody else that's any good? Draft someone like this and hope that his contact develops. Got a normal? Sure. What else we got? Nate Fleming has got a great eye. I think maybe we draft him as a pitcher or as a batter. Good eye, good power. Will Shira. I think we'll do that. We'll draft him and then we'll make him a hitter. See if Fleming is still around with the next pick. He's not. That's too bad. Max Costas. Make him a hitter as well. All right. And we are going to call it a day. All right. So let's go ahead and negotiate. Let's give these guys their money. All right, so now we have to go into our minor league team and find those pitchers. See if I can remember their names without. So one was Shira. We're going to make him right fielder. What happens if we make him a left fielder? Change it at all? It matters, but all right, so we got him. And Costas. What are his ratings look like? Yeah, he's probably an outfielder, so let's make him a right fielder. All right, so our draft looks a little better now. All right, so what do we do now? So it is June 4th. We are 3.5 games out of first place in our second season. We are a game and a half up in the wild card. We aren't hitting. Our pitching is doing pretty well. So I think what I might do is sim until the end of June and see where I stand. If we're still in it, maybe I just hold on. If I'm not still in it or things are starting to look bad, like if we're going the other direction, then we can start to look to unload Heaney and Pham and Posey and really all these guys. So I think people like him, so I don't think I'm gonna move Q, and I'll see what I can get for him, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, we'll see. But Osuna, Pham, Posey, Heaney, Hedges, Lorenzen, Galvis, Amora, Taylor, they all could be looked to be moved here as we approach the trade deadline. Yeah, just looking through to see if there's anything else. So, yeah, I mean, those are a lot of players I'm looking to deal. I won't necessarily deal all of them again. I'd like to hold on to Posey. I mean, he's kind of come around here a little bit, and I might even pick up his contract depending on how the rest of this year goes. But he's playing pretty well for us now. He's up to a 713 OPS. He's a captain. He's already got more home runs this year than he had all last year, so he's playing okay. Hedges is also a captain, but he's not hitting at all. So we'll see what he wants to come back. But the rest of these guys, like Lorenzen, Galvis, Almora, Taylor, they're probably all gone. The rest of these guys we'll just sort of see. So I'm going to go ahead and spend some time messing around. For you guys, it'll be instantaneous, and for me, it'll probably be a couple hours. So hang tight. Hey guys, we are back. For me, it's about 24 hours later. As per usual, my life got in the way. For you guys, it's only been a second. So it is the trade deadline. You can see we currently sit 59 and 59. Wasn't a terrible month. Wasn't a great month. We were 13 and 17. So we've started to slip off here a little bit. You can see each month has been worse than the last. I think our lack of offense is finally catching up to us. Pitching's still doing pretty well, but our lack of offense is catching up to us. So before we look at stats, we'll take a look at the moves we made leading up to the trade deadline. So let's go here, and we'll just go to logs. And we'll go to major transactions logs. And I guess it doesn't matter the order in which we do this. So we'll just start here at the top, and you guys can look ahead, I guess, if you want to. But first deal was with Tampa Bay. We sent Jhoulys Chacin to Tampa in exchange for Brendan McKay. This was simply a matter of trading an asset for a younger asset. Chacin isn't terrible. I mean, pretty average across the board, but apparently he's moving right into Tampa's bullpen. In exchange, we get Brendan McKay, who is a first baseman / pitcher, the definition of a two-way player. You look at his ratings, you can see he's got some good offensive ratings, and his pitching ratings are okay as well. If that movement develops at all, he could be a decent starter, as he's got four pretty good pitches, good stamina. So for now, he's in AAA. He'll probably stay there throughout the year, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do with him next year. Second deal we made back on July 18th, we sent Tommy Pham and Huascar Ynoa to the Red Sox, getting Andrew Benintendi back. My thought process behind this, if you look at our lineup, our two best hitters are Ji-Yeon Kyu and Khalil Lee. They are the 1 and 2 hitters in our lineup. They both have pretty significant OPSs. Kyu's is 365, Khalil Lee is 379. But then I had players batting 200 and 230 behind them. I figured if I could get a high contact guy in that 3-hole, he could potentially drive in a lot of runs. And Benintendi has, at least according to my scout, has an 80 contact, 79 gap power. A little bit less according to OSA, 70 and 74. But even at a 70, he would still be the best contact hitter we have. His contract is up at the end of this season. He's looking for a lot of money. You can see, it's actually dropped quite a bit here over the last few weeks. We've got a lot of depth in the outfield, but someone who's got that level of contact, this is basically a trial. We'll see how he does through the rest of the year, and maybe we can bring him back on a 4 or 5 year deal. I mean, I wouldn't mind something like that. That's not a terrible deal. 4 years at 28 and 36 is 60. So that's about $16 million a year for 4 years, bringing him to his age 32 season. That's not terrible. He's a pretty good defensive outfielder. If he can drive in some runs out of he's struggled with us so far, 4 of 24. Decent on base percentage. He's getting on base a bunch. So I'm hoping that will improve the offense. So to get him, we had to give up Tommy Pham, who wasn't going to be with us beyond this year anyway. He wasn't hitting for us either way. He was at a $1.89, and Huskar Inoa, pretty good, but I think he had pretty much peaked. His stuff could potentially get a little better. His control could potentially get a little better, but I wasn't going to get a ton else back from him. I'll get on to the other trades in just a second. Hang tight just a minute, guys. Okay, back. Sorry about that. So if we continue down, I think I got to go. Yeah, we got to go to June for these other. I made 2 other deals. So the first is right here with the Cleveland Indians. We sent Hire Adrianza, Michael Lorenzen, and Buster Posey to the Cleveland Indians, getting a Bo Naylor. This one's pretty obvious. We trade an older catcher and a couple of additional pieces and get an elite level prospect. Posey, I had mentioned earlier in the episode, I wasn't crazy about trading him, and I wasn't. He had played pretty well. He's a captain, good catcher. He's a great defensive catcher still. Power's all but gone, but if he could hit 260, 270, put up a 700, 715 OPS, he would be a positive value player with his level of defense. Lorenzen was trade bait from the minute we got him. 30-year-old middle reliever with some decent numbers. Pitched okay for us, but was fungible, as they say. And then Adrianza was just minor league depth. He was one of the players we signed in the offseason to fill out the minor league roster. In exchange, we pick up Bo Naylor. And this came together organically. I mentioned earlier that I didn't want to go after players who were necessarily part of my Cubs save for no other reason, just because I wanted something a little different. But initially, we started talking about Tristan McKenzie and Sam Henkin, a couple of pitchers in their system. And once they asked me for Posey, I made the decision that if I was going to give up a catcher, that I'd want to get one back. So Posey, 2.5, 4.5 potential, pretty good catcher, still developing, good speed. You saw how he developed in the Cubs save. He turned into a 800, 850 OPS catcher with some decent speed and decent power. So right now he's the number 50 prospect in baseball. So I will take it. And then the last deal we made was with the Miami Marlins. We sent Michael Gigliotti, Andrew Heaney, and Junior Fernandez to the Marlins, getting Pablo Lopez and Braxton Garrett. So let's start with what we gave up. First was Heaney, and again, Heaney was one of those players that was a potential trade bait all along. As he had a 1-year contract with 2 team options. He was okay for us, 7.5, 4.60 ERA. But again, he was 31 years old, and the entire point of trading for or signing him was to have him as an asset in case we wanted to move him as the year went on. Michael Gigliotti, I wasn't crazy about trading him because he's a very, very good defensive center fielder, and offensively he was starting to come around. You can see he was up to a 759 OPS. He's dropped a little bit since he's gone to Miami, but 759 OPS with very good defense in center field, with making the league minimum, that had a lot of value to Miami. And then we also gave up Junior Fernandez, which I didn't want to do, but I couldn't make this deal without making that happen, and I didn't want to let a reliever get in the way of getting what we got in a return. So again, he was pretty good for us. He struck out 49 in 31 innings, and it looks like he's Miami's closer now, where he's struggled a bit. But I justified it by saying his control, was never going to be anything other than never anything other than average, and he doesn't have a fastball. So that those were my 2 reasons behind that. And sorry guys, hang on just a second. I got someone coming into my office. Okay, we are back, and if you can hear some background noise, sorry, that's my kids. The 2 players we got back in return, first was 24-year-old Braxton Garrett. 3 really solid pitches, good stuff, good control, good movement. It's only a 3-star, but his ratings and his pitches, to me, play out higher than that. He's still at the league minimum, and you can see so far for us 4-5 with a 4.11 ERA. He's been pretty good. His last start, he was really good. He's had 2 really solid starts here in the last month. So he is right now he's my ace, but when it's all said and done, he'll be my number two, and my number two behind number 26-year-old Pablo Lopez. This was the key to that trade with Miami. He has been on the injured reserve since we got him. He's out for 4 more weeks, so he'll be back September. I'll probably throw him in during roster expansion. But you can see elite control, 3 really good pitches, good movement, decent stuff. Was a 20-game loser in 2020, but put up a 3.84 ERA that season. So played for a really bad Miami team last year. He was 12-13, and everything was basically the same. So they got better, and he won 4 more games. So he will be my ace next year. So those are the deals that we have made. Call-ups. Let's see, who have we called up since? So we called up Bubba Thompson once we traded Gigliotti. And he's put up some decent power, 9 home runs, excuse me, in 40 games, striking out a lot. And I think he's playing below average defense. So he's almost at a +1 zone rating. So he's been basically average in center field, which is fine. Anybody else that we called up? No, I don't think so. No, we have Naylor in AAA. And Lopez will be back in 4 weeks. So those were the biggest moves that we made. Let's take a look at the offense really quickly. Again, Q and Lee have been by far my 2 best hitters. Q has got a 4.4 WAR. Lee's got a 2.5. Between them, they have 83 stolen bases at the top of the order. So when they get on base, they make things happen. Lewin Diaz, 27 home runs, 88 RBIs. The average is starting to climb a little bit, which is nice. Slugging is up to 458. But he's only a .2 WAR player. Has this defense been bad? Yeah, he's been pretty bad defensively, so he might transition into a DH role if he can't pick it up at first base. JJ Bleday, we did call up Bleday, and he's a singles hitter, but he's 15 for his first 31. So that's pretty crazy. 44 batting average. Translates to only a 1,002 OPS because there's been absolutely no power in his game, but you can't complain when someone's hitting almost 500. Benintendi has struggled for us so far. Anybody else that we want to look at? Yeah, I mean, you can see OPS-wise, hasn't been very good. Yeah, it just hasn't been very good. Pitching-wise, not much better. Martin's been good. Schmidt has been okay. Garrett's been pretty good since coming over. And that's about it. Quantrill's hurt. We'll find out soon how long he's out for. We called up Jairo Solis, put him in the number 5 spot. He's our 22-year-old. Good stuff. Okay movement. Okay control. 3 good pitches. He's basically Noah 2 years younger. So we'll see how he does. And that's about it, really. So I will play through the end of the regular season. Actually, the next episode will probably be the end of the regular season and the off season. Because again, I'm sure you guys don't want to necessarily sit and watch me lose games. So that's going to do it. I think one of the other things I want to do is do a video, and I might do this in between the. I might do this prior to the next episode, is do it, or maybe I do it after the next episode. I don't know. But what I want to do is I want to go through all the minor league teams, and I want to really plan out my future. So go through each minor league team and call out whether the player is, a part of our future in terms of the prospect pool, if he's trade bait, if he's, a placeholder for somebody else, and that'll really help me determine who my trade chips are. I can lay out my if we look at my player development, can lay out my organizational depth chart, and I can look at how deep I am at particular positions, and figure out if I've got players in there that can be used as trade chips, or if I want to keep them for the long term. So that's going to do it. And again, that will either be before the next episode, or before, it might be before opening day next year. So we'll do the end of the regular season and the off season in the next episode. And then after that, I'll do the roster recap and go over potentially who we're going to move during the regular season and stuff. So that's going to do it. So until next time, please leave a like, subscribe, let me know your thoughts. And until we talk again, everybody take care. Bye-bye.